Security crisis at royal palaces. So what have they got planned next? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here. I hope you're keeping well and fine and dandy on this wonderful start of a brand new day. Not so wonderful though, of course, if you remember a particularly senior member of the British monarchy. That is, of course, following on from that masked cross and arrow bow intruder at Windsor Castle on Christmas Day. I don't know about you, you kind of wonder how much more our gracious Majesty the Queen has to put up with. There she is, planning a very quiet, rather slimmed down Christmas Day with just herself, Camilla and Prince Charles, of course, all thanks to COVID restrictions and all that sort of stuff. And then she finds on that day there's an intruder inside Windsor Castle. Thankfully nothing came of it. We're hearing now more details emerging as the days go on, but what a frightening aspect. But now there's a bigger concern, particularly for senior members of the British monarchy, and here's the reason why. According to good sources within inside palace walls, they tell me that they've had a battle ongoing with security for some time. Now this isn't really to do with the cost of protecting our senior members of the British monarchy. That actually isn't disclosed to the public. But the bigger problem has been this: most officers are assigned to a certain person within the royals for around about 4 to 5 years, depending on age and length of service within the British Metropolitan Police. But they have a new chief in charge of that particular division. And that division's decided that they can't simply have the same people on the same rota looking after the same royals. Seems madness to me, because of course you build an affinity with that person. I'm sure Prince Charles is very close to his protection officers and they know his little quirks and of course demands, which makes it easier to protect them. I've been lucky enough to meet quite a few of the former Royal Protection Officers over the years, including of course the very celebrated Ken Wolfe, who looked after the late and wonderful Princess Diana for many years, and he's always stipulated to me and of course publicly that had Diana still had Met Police protection, then of course he didn't feel that that particular accident would have taken place. Now, as we've seen, of course, inside British palaces over the years, there's been many intruders, including, of course, Michael Fagan, who famously, allegedly, sat on the bed of our gracious Majesty the Queen and held a conversation with her. Well, she reached for the panic button. Who could forget that all of those years ago now? But on a more serious note, Prince Charles has a problem because, as we know, he wanted to slim down the monarchy, which means it's even more vulnerable for lesser royals who don't necessarily have such 24-hour protection. Now, we can tell you this first on the channel. One idea which I think really would resolve a lot of problems is to simply move most of the royals into one area, rather like a big houses and estate, if you like. When you think about it, we have them there spread around everywhere. Prince Charles at Highgrove, Gatcombe Park for Her Royal Highness Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, and of course various others. Now, what would be making more sense really would be for them all to be closer, perhaps all inside Windsor Castle or indeed inside Buckingham Palace. This would reduce, of course, royal protection fees and, more importantly, make it easier to protect those that matter most to us. As ever, let me know what you feel about this particular story. It's going to go on and on, let me tell you, for a few days. And that's all because this particular lady, as I say, who's in charge of that unit now within the Metropolitan Police, is sticking fast and more furiously to her guns than, of course, previous other people in that position. Do let me know exactly what you think to this particular story, as of course it could have been something of a disaster on such a day which should have been a really relaxing and time for reflection for our gracious Majesty the Queen. As I said at the beginning of this video, truly is there no end to what it has been seen as a very bad royal year for our reigning monarch. Neil Sean in the heart of London.